Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to talk about the organization of the nervous system. So let's get started. The nervous system is made of two main divisions. These divisions are the central nervous system, also known as the CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, known as the PNS. So the central nervous system is made up mostly of interneurons, which send signals to motor organs, which are the organs that help us and direct our mobility and our movements. Then the PNS, our peripheral nervous system, is made up of sensory and motor neurons, which sends information to and from the central nervous system. So, like I touch something, right? I have sensory nerves that feel sensations, and those charges, impulses will be sent to my central nervous system, and then I'll get told, like, oh, should I take my hand away or do I just feel? And then our motor neurons are basically like what makes us do the movement. So if I touch a hot stove, sensory neuron is touching it, motor neuron is the muscle yanking my arm away. The central nervous system coordinates all of the body's activities and relays messages, processes information, and analyzes responses, while the peripheral nervous system has just a somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. I will get further into that in two whiteboards. So that is just what the peripheral nervous system will do. And then the central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. The spinal cord, I don't have a whiteboard on it, but basically it just processes reflexes. So reflexes are sent out by the spinal cord and you act on that. Then your peripheral nervous system is made of all neurons not a part of the central nervous system. So central nervous system is made of brain and spinal cord, and then everything else is peripheral nervous system. Nerves in my fingers, nerves in my leg, nerves in my stomach, that is all peripheral nervous system. Now, let's talk about the brain because it is the main thing behind our nervous systems. So, the brain, I gave a little diagram here. We have the skull on the outside protecting us. Then there's the cerebrum, which we all know is like that pink stuff that's folded all over. That's what you think of when you think of a brain. That is actually the largest part of the brain, and that controls thought processes involved with learning, memory, language, speech, voluntary body movements, and sensory perception. So our cerebrum is like our pink matter, all folded. That has to do with thought processes. Now, now the cerebellum is right underneath the cerebrum, and it's right next to like the brain stem and the spinal cord. It controls balance, posture, and coordination. Now, we have something called a medulla oblongata, which is right above the spinal cord, and it is next to the pons as well. The pons and the medulla oblongata make up the brain stem. Brain stem's coming right off the spinal cord, and well, it's the stem into the brain. So medulla oblongata is right above the spinal cord, right next to the pons. It relays signals between the brain and the spinal cord because it's like the barrier between brain and spinal cord. And then it helps control breathing rate, heart rate, and blood pressure. Now, the pons is right above the medulla oblongata, and it relays signals between the cerebrum, and the cerebellum, and that also helps control breathing rate. So, pons is between the hypothalamus, cerebrum, and cerebellum, but it'll just transfer information from the cerebrum to the cerebellum. Now, the hypothalamus regulates our body temperature. That is right above the pons. It's in between the pons and the cerebrum. It's just this big little matter here. And that regulates our body temperature, our thirst, our appetite, and water balance. And it partially regulates blood pressure, sleep, aggression, fear, and sexual behavior. So the hypothalamus basically just maintains homeostasis in our body. If we get too hot, it's going to send out signals, oh, you should start sweating. Get too cold, it's going to send out signals, well, maybe you should get goosebumps to like hold the air closer to you. Now, let's talk about the peripheral nervous system. So we have the central nervous system, and that leads into the peripheral nervous system. Now, peripheral nervous system is put into two main groups. The somatic nervous system, which is voluntary. What that does is it relays information to and from skin and skeletal muscles. So I feel this, I feel something. That's somatic nervous system. It's relaying information from our skin and our skeletal muscles. Then if our central nervous system tells me like, "Oh, yank my hand away," or "Oh, go touch that." Something like that, then it's also getting information and it's moving my muscles, moving my body. Now, there's the autonomic nervous system, which is involuntary. I don't get to pay attention to this. It relays information to internal organs. It does not relay to and from, it's just to internal organs. So it's relaying like things about blood and heart rate to our heart, relaying like directions to our liver, whatever. All the organs we don't get to know, that they just happen. The organs are like, okay, whatever, and they just do it. Now, the autonomic nervous system is put into two subcategories. There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system controls organs in times of stress. So it may cause like your lungs to get like smaller and your breaths to get shorter, your heart rate to go up, something like that. Now, then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which just controls your organs when the body is at rest. So, if you're in high stress situations, your sympathetic nervous system's going at it. Your heart rate's up, you're taking shorter breaths, everything. But then the parasympathetic nervous system will like counteract that. If you're taking deep breaths, you're just chilling, maybe sleeping, and you're just having a great old dream. Parasympathetic nervous systems taking over, like resetting your body for the next stress situation when the sympathetic nervous system can take back over. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope this video was helpful.